Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Inside View of Cricket. So today at 3 p.m. here in Bengaluru with bright sunshine around me, what could be the topic on which that we are going to zoom in on? Well, it is on wobble seam. Yes, I'm thinking about that delivery which has caused headaches for a modern day batter, for a lot of modern day batters going around in the cricketing landscape. Yes, it's also the same delivery that has turned out to be one of the uh, best weapons in a fast bowler's QA. So today, let us look at the best exponents of wobble seam and small differences in relation to how the wobble seam is used by different fast bowlers. So for starters, let us dissect Matt Henry's wobble seam. Sometimes I call him as the wobble seam king of present times. I will try to explain why I call him that way. See, if first here let us think about his grip. If you notice his grip, then the seam is pretty much upright and the two fingers are slightly tilted, with his middle finger tilted slightly towards the right side. He holds these two fingers on the edges of the seam. So what is the difference between Matt Henry's wobble seam and then say a three-quarter seam used by many other seam bowlers including Mohammad Siraj? If you look at the three-quarter seam, the seam itself is angled. So the second case, there's less chance of the ball landing on the seam. Most likely you will get it to wobble in the air and a little bit off the pitch. But in Matt Henry's case, he's giving himself a better chance of landing it on the seam. I will try to explain his characteristics of wobble seam through a couple of examples. Just think about the delivery that he bowled to Shubman Gill in the Champions Trophy. On this occasion, this particular delivery came out straight, skidded and trapped Shubman Gill in front. Basically what happened here was there was very less backspin, or there was no real backspin on the ball. It didn't land on the seam and just took down Shubman Gill LBW. That is a variation. And then let us think about the delivery that he bowled to Jamie Smith. That was a peach of a delivery actually. This time around there was very less backspin, there was less backspin and very less wobble in the air. Basically got a little bit of moment in the air and then it pitched on the seam and there's a little bit of bite of the surface and it castled Jamie Smith. So what we noticed here was there was just a little bit of backspin in the air that helped him to kind of get a little bit of movement in the air, and it landed on the seam. Although it wobbled a little bit, it landed on the seam and then it nipped back to take down Jamie Smith. So here's a bowler, because of his grip, gives himself a better chance of landing it on the seam, and also he brings into play the subtleties, because when he gets it to wobble, it's quite less in the air, so it's not easy for a batter to understand whether it is his normal stock delivery or it's wobble seam. And to make it worse for the batters, from the batter's point of view, is that his normal stock delivery's grip is not much different. So this is what adds to the equation. So now you can see why it has become so difficult to track or to decipher Matt Henry's wobble seam for many a batter, and also why he's been taking so many wickets across formats. Then you think of Mohammad Siraj. In this case, as I noticed, it's a three-quarter seam, but the seam itself is angled and the fingers are straight or upright. So in this context, the ball will wobble a lot more. Secondly, there's less chance of it landing on the seam, and most likely it will nip back into the right-hander and look to get him out, LBW or bowled, or leave the left-hander. Yes, occasionally it can go straight, but in Matt Henry's case, occasionally it may wobble a little bit, just a little bit, and also move away from the right-hander, or is giving himself a better chance of the ball moving both ways. So that is about Siraj's wobble seam. Mind you, he has used it very effectively and has taken a lot of wickets with that, so it's not like Mohammad Siraj's wobble seam is a less dangerous weapon, but definitely Matt Henry's weapon gives him a few more options. Also, one has to think about when we think about Mohammad Siraj, we have to consider the fact that he started using this wobble seam because he somewhere lost that in swinger. When he lost that in swinger, he began to use this wobble seam, which became his go-to weapon. Thankfully, he has now got his in swinger, conventional in swinger, back into his armor, and that has made him more of a complete pace bowler. There's one more pace bowler. Obviously, you have to also think about Jimmy Anderson here because he has another type of wobble, slightly different. See, his modus operandi in some ways is related to Matt Henry, but there is one difference. That is, yes, the seam is pretty much upright when he uses the wobble seam, but he slants his wrist, he slants his fingers ever so slightly, and also holds it at the tip of his fingers, holds the ball, leather ball at the tip of his finger. So what happens with him is maybe the ball kisses off the surface a little more, but among the three seamers, he was the one who was giving the best chance for the ball to move in the air both ways because of his grip, and also occasionally for it to go straight. As we also know, once he used that hybrid wobble based on how he used the shine of the ball on one side. So that is Jimmy Anderson's mastery. Hopefully you like this video where I looked at the three types of wobble: Matt Henry's wobble, Anderson's wobble, and also Siraj's wobble. Obviously someone might ask about Mitchell Stark's wobble as well. I have to say that's also 3/4 seam, so it's not much different from Siraj. Just that one difference is a left arm bowler bowling from over the wicket, so a lot of deliveries will leave the right hander and occasionally maybe go straight on or come back into the right hander. Actually, recently we saw one of the deliveries coming back into the right hander, surprisingly. That was in the Adelaide Test. I think it was Jofra Archer, the batsman. He somehow, to his Jofra Archer's credit, somehow he played it out. So that's about it. Hopefully you like the video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Revsportz YouTube channel, because we don't just cover cricket, we cover other sports.